Poetry elements. Poetry elements are literary devices or tools that an author uses to help readers visualize, which means create mind movies or pictures in your head about what is happening in poems. An example of a poetry element is repetition. Repetition is when a certain word, sentence, or phrase is written more than once in a poem. Many poems have repetition for the same reason a song has a chorus. In songs, the chorus is the part when the listener joins in and sings along, which encourages people to become more attached to what they are listening to. Repetition adds emphasis to the main point or message of the text. It is your job as the reader to figure out what the writer is emphasizing. Just like rhyme, repetition helps people remember things. Another example of a poetry element is rhyme. Words rhyme if they have the same ending sounds, often found at the end of lines. So listen to this poem and see if you can hear any rhymes. This is a poem by Robert Louis Stevenson called Happy Thoughts. The world is so full of a number of things, I'm sure we should all be as happy as kings. This is a picture or photograph of A.A. Milne, and he is a famous writer who was born in London, and he lived from 1882 to 1956. After his son, Christopher Robin, was born, he began to write the storybooks called Winnie the Pooh. He also wrote poetry. I'm going to read you one of A.A. Milne's famous poems. See if you can hear repetition and rhyme in this poem. I'm going to say one word in this poem differently than you and I would pronounce this word today. That word is again. In this poem, I'm going to pronounce it like this, again. See if you can figure out why I'm pronouncing that word like this. Waiting at the window is about a child looking outside on a rainy day. He could be wishing to be outside playing, but then he notices the raindrops falling down the window. As he continues to watch, he sees the raindrops falling, and he pretends the raindrops are in a race to see which one will get to the bottom of the window first. Waiting at the Window by A.A. Milne. These are my two drops of rain, waiting on the window pane. I am waiting here to see which the winning one will be. Both of them have different names. One is John and one is James. All the best and all the worst comes from which of them is first. James has just begun to ooze. He's the one I want to lose. John is waiting to begin. He's the one I want to win. James is going slowly on. Something sort of sticks to John. John is moving off at last. James is going pretty fast. John is rushing down the pane. James is going slow again. James has met a sort of smear. John is getting very near. Is he going fast enough? James has found a piece of fluff. John has quickly hurried by. James was talking to a fly. John is there and John has won. Look, I told you, here's the sun.